Hi, I'm Divinorae, and you're watching Broken Filter Backstage. Hi, good evening, metal fans. Welcome. We're here at Irving Plaza, and we were with Nolly of Periphery. They're playing along with Nothing More. I know that in past interviews, when you've been asked about the meaning of the two new albums, it's been a little vague. There's been words like dense and I know there was complex thrown in, and then cinematic, and you basically were waiting to have fans interpret that themselves before it was released. And now that everything has been released, I'm wondering if you can delve in a little deeper, maybe give some common themes or like hidden meanings going on whatsoever.
I mean, honestly, we're still trying to keep it a little bit under wraps. You know, the records might be out, but what we're hoping is that people have got the lyric sheets out, that they're listening to the music, and they're enjoying it like they might enjoy, you know, listening to a film, or watching a film, or reading a book, or something like that. And we will reveal the storyline, but we'd like to do it in a controlled way, somewhere where we can really control the content. Maybe something that's graphical, or something that's prose, or we can very carefully go through all the meanings. And it's quite a dense story. We use that word quite a lot, and it's also very dark. If you're a fan of things like Stephen King books, horror movies, even shows like True Detective, I know is very popular, there is that cult theme within what we do, and I still hesitate to go into any real detail about it, but it's all there. It's in the lyric sheets. It's all very literal. There isn't much in the way of kind of allegorical stuff in the lyrics. So if you follow that and you follow the music, you'll probably get a pretty good idea of what it is. And I will say that fans have actually done a very good job. I've been following from time to time what people have been talking about on the videos or on the forums, and some people are really dead on the money. I'm not going to say who. Some people are way off the money too, so you're going to have to try and figure out which reality you want to subscribe to.
So I've noticed that you have, with the guitars, there's some drastically different tunings going on based on whether it's a 6, 7, or 8 string. And I'm wondering if that's something that has like big advantages, you know, what the real reasons are to have these different tunings, and also if it's something that might make somebody in the band like kind of crazy over, or the engineering.
Yeah, I mean, I really think it just comes down to inspiration, and all of the guys have multiple guitars, and every guitar feels different. Every number of strings on a guitar is going to inspire a different kind of musicality, and sometimes it's almost paradoxical, like a 6-string guitar song might actually be tuned lower than the bottom string of a 7-string guitar, or on this new album there's a retardedly low song called Hell Below, which is It's tuned to a low C sharp, so that's technically a 9-string range, but it's played on an 8-string. Yeah, I really just think it comes down to inspiration. It's like whatever inspires the guys. They might just be playing a 6-string and they have a song idea and it's like, well, okay, well, this song's now this. Likewise with an 8 or a 7-string. Very rarely, but it sometimes happens, we'll find like a riff works, like can still be played in another tuning, either in the same key or it works transposed to a different key that might help it integrate with another idea and turn into like a whole song. But that's pretty rare. Most of the time, like a whole song will be fleshed out around the first few riffs that are written for it, and that's just going to come down to where the initial inspiration struck, whatever guitar someone wanted to play. That does pose its problems live. On our records, in fact, I think on every record, there's not a single sequential song which is in the same tuning. That's not to say there aren't several that are in the same tuning, but it does mean, for example, if we wanted to at some point play both Juggernaut records from back to back live, we'd be changing guitars every song, and it might just be like swap for one guitar for one song, and then the next song you need to grab that guitar you just put down again, because we didn't really think of it in that context. It's really about how the songs flow and how the record flows. But that's a problem which we're still working to get around, because it would be really cool to do things like that, to be able to play a full record in its entirety in the order that it actually appears. But yeah, it also means we have to take way too many guitars on the road, and guitars and basses. Some bands I see have done their entire careers in one tuning and they can just travel with one guitar and a backup. We have to go with like 7 or 8 each. Seriously, it's kind of ridiculous. So yeah, positives and negatives to that, I think.
Yeah, your roadies must hate you guys. What is your most memorable or favorite city that you've toured in, and why?
Might not be the same thing, because memorable could be bad. Favorite city would be favorite city would probably be Melbourne in Australia. That's one of my favorite cities in the whole world for sure, and I was very lucky to spend a few months there last year, and we've played there several times. I think on Facebook actually it's our place with the most likes apparently come from Melbourne, so clearly they seem to like us too, which is great. But it really is like being in paradise when you're down there. Amazing weather, amazing food, amazing coffee, and really, really lovely people. Most memorable in a good way is probably like Japan. That's awesome. Whenever we go to Japan, they take great care of us, and it's such a culture shock in the best kind of way. They're so respectful, and we love everything about Japanese culture, so it's awesome to go and play there when we can.
All right, so maybe we could flip that a little and ask what is the most memorable in a bad sense, or, wild nights have ensued.
Probably the single most memorable thing that's occurred with the band was when we were on tour with Between the Buried and Me a little over 2 years ago now. We were traveling on the motorway in England in a bus. We were sharing a bus with them, and I got woken to people shouting to get off the bus, like jumped out of my bunk wearing nothing but my boxer shorts. I didn't have my glasses on, and immediately noticed it was pretty smoky. Turns out our bus was on fire, and our driver was in the process of pulling over on the side of the road. The engine was literally on fire. The tires were actually exploding, and I managed to grab my coat, but all of us, Between the Buried and Me and our band, all wearing basically nothing, had to run in the freezing cold rain at about 4 a.m., having just been woken up the embankment, up to the top, while we watched basically this bus burn. Thankfully, our belongings were okay, but that's one of the craziest experiences of my life, and could have ended so differently had the wrong things happened. So, yeah, that's probably the most memorable experience. I don't think I'll ever forget that. Right? I will never forget actually running on tarmac without shoes on is way more painful than you think it's going to be. That was my lasting memory.
Well, I'm glad you survived that and you're here with us tonight. You or anybody in the band, have you guys ever been like victims of being stalked by like psycho bitches, and have you been victim to girls, like groupies coming on the bus that are trying to just stay on the bus with you guys, and any restraining orders, any fucked up stories, like banging groupies and regretting it?
You know, as I said earlier, all our fans are dudes. We don't get groovy, so the most we get is like extremely clinging musician types that want to know about the string gauges that we use and the custom guitars that they should buy and how some tone is achieved. Honestly, like that's the honest answer. We pretty much wish we had more crazy stuff going on, but yeah, it's all guys. If we ever get stalked, it's like guys showing up to shows and just wanting to put you in a corner and just ask you relentless questions about the guitars you play and the details of the music. To be honest, I'm afraid it is literally as uninteresting as that for us. Who knows? Maybe things will change. Maybe on this next album we'll suddenly explode. There'll be girls everywhere. But I mean, I'm looking at the line right now and I see 2 girls, and both of them appear to be girlfriends of guys that came. So that's about it. That's pretty standard for us. Hey, this is Nolly from Periphery. You are watching Broken Filter Backstage on Zen Live TV.